All right, my hair be looking weird. Hey everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with a look back on last year's reading. So it is time to take a look back at last year. Most booktubers, including myself, do this every single year. Take a look at kind of looking at the stats, how my reading went last year, and then just a quick look at all of the books that I ended up finishing. So I track my reading on two different places. I do it on Goodreads like most people do, and then I also use a special kind of spreadsheet called Copile, and that was created by G over at Book Roast. I'll make sure I leave her channel link down below as well as the video where she kind of talks about this. I think she just came out with like a third version of this, so I'll make sure I leave that down below so you guys can kind of see what that's about. She goes into detail about it and kind of has it all set up so you can see how it's tracking. But that's how I track that. So most of these are going to come from that spreadsheet, but I thought we'd start with just a quick look at the Goodreads spreadsheet. Goodreads is not always as accurate as the spreadsheet is, but it does have a couple of fun things that it might be fun to take a look at. So again, like I said, the Goodreads isn't as accurate, but it does have the number correct. So in the course of 2021, I was able to read 156 books. Now this does include DNFs. I don't remember how many I have, so we'll get to that in a second. But 156 books is incredible. And then it says, what is it, 56,000 pages? This is not as accurate. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But according to Goodreads, this is how I did. So I think that's better than last year. I was in the like hundreds for sure, but I can't remember what my 2020 reading goal looked like. But it's a lot of books. I'm proud of myself. I can't believe I actually read that many. That's kind of crazy. And then according to Goodreads as well, the shortest book that I read was actually one that I read in December, which was The Polar Express, which was 32 pages. And then the longest book that I read was A Dragonfly in Amber, which was the second in the Outlander series, which is almost 1,000 pages long. And then Goodreads says that my average book length is about 360 pages, which is, I would say, accurate. I tend to lean more towards that 300 range. I don't like the thick books, the ones that are over 500 pages. They kind of scare me, so I tend to like steer clear of those. But I'd say this is their average, and I would say that I agree, kind of just thinking about the books that I just generally gravitate towards. And then out of popularity, so like people who have gone on Goodreads and have said that they've read these books, the most popular book was Educated, which I read in, I think it was January, which was a nonfiction that my dad actually picked out for me. And then the least popular was Sleeping Around, and this is by my friend Morgan Vega, who's actually here on YouTube. I'll leave her channel linked down below, but this is her debut novel, and it came out in the fall, I want to say, like, maybe it was in I think it was in the summer. I got an arc of it, so I'm trying to remember when it actually came out. So it came out sometime in the middle to later half of the year. So it's not been out very long, so this does not surprise me that it is one of the lower ones. But it's good, so y'all read it. And then Goodreads also says that my average rating is about a 4.3, 4.5, which I don't know where they've got the 0.3 thing from, because you're not allowed to put half stars on Goodreads. Wish they'd fix that. But then again, this feels pretty accurate for me, because like out of all of the things, I mean, we'll get to the stars in a second, but like out of my memory of all of the ratings, 4-star is pretty normal for me. It's what I tend to rate most of my books, unless it's amazing, which is a 5-star, or if it's just kind of okay, then it's a 3-star. But like 4-star is where most of my things go. So I mean, it does kind of make sense. Alright, so now taking a look at the Copile stats, which are much more in-depth and also much more accurate, I'd say. So taking a look at all of the books that I read this year, just kind of as a general look. Again, like I said, 156 is the number of books that I read. Goodreads did get that right, but if you take out the DNFs, I read 152 books. And then looking kind of at like how many books I read, the month that I read the most amount of books in was October with 16, and then I had a couple that were kind of lower. Well, no, January was the lowest with 9 books, but considering that's a low month, I don't know how I did it, but like I read significantly more every single month this year than I have in my entire life. Like the amount of books I got to is, it's a little mind-blowing, you know? So I don't know what's happening with this one, but this is a look at the pages I read every single month. And for some reason October has the number on it, I don't really know why, but the month I read the most amount of pages in was actually in April with 5,453 pages. But as far as total pages, because like I said, this is more accurate because I physically put in how many pages are in the book instead of just kind of like the closest Goodreads book I could find. So I read a total of 54,721 pages. So a little less than Goodreads, but still like an incredible number. And then just a quick look at the DNFs. I DNF'd 4 books this month. I did 1 in February, May, September, and October. So a little spread throughout, but like I don't DNF that often, but I did a little bit. And then as far as like the reason for DNFing, they're all relatively the same. Low intrigue. It just generally sucked. I didn't care about any of it. These are all variations on that. And then as far as languages goes, so this is a little weird because this is for people who actually read in multiple languages, and I just used this a little bit as like if it's been translated. So like 92% of the things that I read were actually originally written in English, but it did have a little bit, which is about 7% I think, was in a different, I said Japanese, but it was like mangas and things like that. Oh, and then there's like this little itty bitty, you probably can't see it, 1% that says Icelandic because the very last book that I finished this year was actually originally written in Icelandic. So this is, I used this chart a little bit differently, but there's a whole new section this coming 2022 year that'll kind of, I think I can use that a little bit better, but that's, I mean, I read mostly things in English because I speak English, so like it makes sense. And taking a quick look at my reading method, there were 4 categories here, like physical, ebooks, audiobooks, and then mixed, which is obviously a mixture of the above. For me, it's usually an audiobook and a physical book. So for this one, shocking, I'm sure, the biggest number is actually the mixed media book, which is a 36%. Now I do tend to change format while I'm reading. And then I also had audiobooks, which is next at 32%, physical at 25%, and ebook at about 6%. So that does not surprise me. I don't read that many ebooks compared to like physical books, but audiobooks is like my #1 go-to. Alright, getting into the nitty-gritty details. Looking at genres. I read a wide range of genres here, but the biggest one is actually like not that surprising. I'm surprised there are 2 such big chunks, but the most amount of books I read was in fantasy with 31%, and then romance with 29%, 29.5%, so basically 30%. And then we had historical fiction coming in, I think, no, mystery coming. Mystery came in 3rd. No, mystery came in 4th. Contemporary came in 3rd with 14%. So mystery being at 9% actually surprises me, so I read significantly more mysteries than normal. And then just a few things, sci-fi, mangas, things like that. Graphic novels, although I will say the format, like mangas and graphic novels, are changing, so that won't be in the genre section next year. But yeah, fantasy and romance are my 2 biggest genres, I think, just in general, for sure last year, so that does not surprise me. And then again, looking at like the length of the book, my biggest section is that 350 to 400 pages at 28%, so that fits right in with that 360 from Goodreads. And then the second up is the 300 to 350 pages there. So those 2 don't surprise me. What surprises me is the 3rd place, which is the 400 to 450, because again, like I said, I tend to steer away from the like bigger books, so like I said, above 500 pages, but somewhere between 450 and 500 is what I consider a big book. So the fact that this is leaning on the side of bigger books as my third option is actually surprising. But yeah, the things you learn. And then taking a look at my star ratings, we're so shocked here that the thing that I gave out the most was 4 stars at 50% of the time, and then the next being 5 stars at 37% and 3 stars at 11%. I don't think I gave anything lower than a 3-star this year, unless I DNF'd something, because I just generally didn't like it. I don't think I gave anything 2 stars. Like, I don't see an extra little pie spot here that would say that. So maybe some things should have been 2 stars, but I didn't make them 2 stars. I'm a very generous rater, apparently. As then age category, the biggest one being adult at 55%. Again, doesn't surprise me. I do like my historical romances. I definitely got into that this year, so adult being the biggest one does not surprise me. And then coming in at number 2 is YA with 26%. I'm very surprised at how big the new adult one is at 7%, but now that I think about that, I think I categorized all the ACOTAR books as new adult, even though technically they're categorized as YA, even though we all know they shouldn't be. So I don't know, but that's what happened there. And then publication year is just a fun little thing to look at, and the biggest year I read from was 2019 with 17%, and then coming in with 2020 at 15%. But like I read some things, all the little baby ones you can't really see up here are like, I don't know, I've read a lot of years, like in the 2000s as well, but those are not the big ones that are showing. But all those little baby bars up there, that's what those are. And then as far as where I sourced the books from, 85% of the books that I read are ones that I actually own here on my shelves. I mean, I was gifted a few that probably should have gone into the gifted section that I put in the owned section, because I think about halfway through the year I forgot that was an option. And then I also borrowed some, so I didn't borrow as many, so it doesn't surprise me that my biggest one is owned. I do think gifted probably should be a little bit bigger than it is, just because, like I said, I forgot about it, but this seems about right. And then taking a look at the rep that is in these books, specifically LGBTQ plus rep, I will say not the best option here, but the biggest chunk is obviously none with 68%, but then I do have 24% of the time it is present somewhere, and 7% of the time it is the main character. And then as you can see right below it is the breakdown of that, of how I formatted it. So obviously FF is female-female romance, MM is male romance, bi is bi rep, and then there's like one apparently that was both female-female and trans together, so I don't really know. It didn't actually break down the way I wanted it to. And then when I say all, that means there are quite a few, multiple different ones for multiple different characters as well. And then some of the other ones that are hidden here are, let's see, just a mixture of the ones above. There is an ace one in here as well that's kind of hidden. So I need to find a better way of writing what those are, because I did not do that here. Anytime there was a comma where I was trying to put 2 different kinds, they just made that their own. So yeah, this is not the best graph. I'll be better next year. And then a quick look at the series that I read, or like if I read things that were part of a series. So I actually did 60% of the time a book that I read was part of a series, which is pretty cool. And then 39% of the time it was a standalone, which actually surprises me. I thought I read a lot more standalones than that, but apparently I read a lot of series. Oh, and then I also finished 14 series this year. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. And then I look at the authors that I ended up reading. Again, these graphs aren't great. I need to be better at this. But looking at POC authors, I did read 25% of the books that I did read were by POC authors. Like, that breaks down into quite a few other ones. So we have 43% of the time I read books from Asian authors, and then 35% of the time I read books from Black authors. And then we also had Latina authors, Middle Eastern authors, and Indian authors as well. And then we also have whether it was own voices or not. Now this is hard to tell for me sometimes, like unless it specifically says in the author's note or somewhere in the synopsis that this is based on the author's life or something like that, or if the author has come out as part of the LGBTQ community and their main character is part of the LGBTQ community. Sometimes I will see that they do that as well, but I would say about 8% of the time they are owned voices. I'm sure it was more than that. I wasn't sure. I just kind of had to take a guess on that one. And then as far as the gender of the people that I read from, a majority of them were women. I did read 77% of the books were from women. I think that's just because I'm a woman and those stories kind of make sense for me. And then we had 12% are from men, 7% are from multiple authors. I did have like about 1% of them as not specified, and then there are, I don't know why it doesn't have it, but there are about a couple of non-binary authors in here as well. And then the last thing I tracked in, or that was tracked in here, was the nationality of these authors. Again, I don't always know. If it says so, then I say what it is, but it's, again, hard to tell. But the majority of the authors were American, coming in at 79%. And then we did have 10% that are from England, and then there are just a few more scattered throughout. There's some Japanese authors, there's one Icelandic author, there's a couple Canadian authors, a couple Irish authors, things like that. So there are a few others, but American and England are like the main two. So now I thought we would go through really quickly all the books that I did end up picking up in 2021 and just a quick run through of my year and what I read each of them. So let me know down below if you've read any of the books that I read this year, or kind of some of the books that you ended up getting to in 2021 that you'd love to rave about. I will leave my wrap-up list or playlist down below, so if you want to know my more in-depth thoughts on any of these, you can go there. Also, if you want to find like links to where you can find these books, you'll find them in all of those videos as well, because love you guys, but I'm not linking 150 something books in the description. So let's just get into it. So starting off in January, I started off the year with the first volume of Emma by Corey Morey, which I gave 4 stars. The President is Missing by Bill Clinton and James Patterson, which I gave 4 stars. My Calamity Jane by the Lady Janies, which I gave 3 stars. Educated by Tara Westover, which I gave 5 stars. Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, which I gave 5 stars. Book Love by Debbie Tung, which I gave 4 stars. Make Up Breakup by Lily Menon, which I gave 5 stars. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, which I gave 3 stars. Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse by Lee Goldberg, which I gave 4 stars. Starting off February, I read the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, which I gave 4 stars. A Princess in Theory, the first in her Reluctant Royals series by Alyssa Cole, which I gave 5 stars. After Alice by Gregory Maguire, which I DNF'd. My Favorite Half-Night Stand by Christina Lauren, which I gave 5 stars. All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda, which I gave 3 stars. The Familiars by Stacey Halls, which I gave 4 stars. Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan, which I gave 3 stars. A Rogue of One's Own, the second in the League of Extraordinary Women series by Evie Dunmore, which I gave 5 stars. Majesty, the second in the American Royals series by Catherine McGee, which I gave 5 stars. Dear Haiti, Love Elaine by Maritza and Micah Molit, which I gave 5 stars. To Have It a Hoax by Martha Waters, which is the first in the Regency Vows series, which I gave 5 stars. Starting out March, I read House of Earth and Blood, the first in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, which I gave 5 stars. A Duke by Default, the second in the Reluctant Royals series by Alyssa Cole, which I gave 4 stars. The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai, which I gave 4 stars. Never Seduce a Scot, the first in the Montgomery and Armstrong series by Maya Banks, which I gave 5 stars. Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, which I gave 4 stars. Dragonfly and Amber, the second in the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon, which I gave 4 stars. The Crowns of Croswald, the first in this series by D.E. Knight, which I gave 4 stars. Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, the first novella in the Reluctant Royals series by Alyssa Cole, which I gave 5 stars. Volume 1 of My Brother's Husband by Jingoro Tagame, which I gave 4 stars. Heat Wave, the first in the Nikki Heat series by Richard Castle, which I gave 4 stars. The Phantom of Pemberley by Regina Jeffers, which I gave 4 stars. Daughters of the Winter Queen by Nancy Goldstone, which I gave 4 stars. The Lost Memoirs of Jane Austen by Siri James, which I gave 4 stars. Starting off April, we have Amal Unbound by Aisha Saeed, which I gave 5 stars. Three Sisters, Three Queens by Philippa Gregory, which I gave 4 stars. I Speak Boy by Jessica Brody, which got 5 stars. To Love and to Loathe, the second in the Regency Vows series by Martha Waters, which got 4 stars. My Brother's Husband Volume 2 by Jingoro Tagame, which got 5 stars. Beneath the Sugar Sky, the third in the Wayward Children's series by Shauna Maguire, which got 5 stars. Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers, which got 4 stars. The Duke Undone by Joanna Lowell, which got 4 stars. Among the Janeites by Deborah Yafe, which got 4 stars. Mermaid Moon by Suzanne Kokol, which got 3 stars. Generously, I think. Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, which got 4 stars. In Bed with a Highlander, which is the first in the Macabre trilogy by Maya Banks, which got 4 stars. Picture Us and the Light by Kelly Loy Gilbert, which got 4 stars. Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, the first in the Brown Sisters trilogy, which got 5 stars. Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, which got 4 stars. Starting off May, we have Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, the first in that series, which got 4 stars. Love at First Like by Hannah Ornstein, which got 4 stars. Again, I think generously. Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, which got 4 stars. Never Love a Highlander, the third in the Macabre trilogy by Maya Banks, which got 4 stars. A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas, which got 5 stars. In an Absent Dream, the fourth in the Wayward Children's series by Shauna Maguire, which got 4 stars. My Lady Jane by the Lady Janies, which got 5 stars. The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu, which I DNF'd. Waking Gods and Only Human, the second and the third in the Themis Files series by Sylvain Nouvelle, which both got 5 stars. Mary B. The Untold Story of Pride and Prejudice by Catherine J. Chen, which got 3 stars, but that's for sure a 2-star, so that needs to be bumped down. Lovely War by Julie Berry, which got 5 stars. Soul of Stars, the sequel to Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston, which got 4 stars. Starting off June, I read The Deep by Rivers Solomon, which got 4 stars. Take a Hint, Danny Brown, the second in the Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert, which of course got 5 stars. A Court of Mist and Fury, the second in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas, which got 5 stars. Volume 1 of Witch Hat Atelier by Kawome Shirahama, which got 4 stars. Come Tumbling Down, the fifth in the Wayward Children's series by Shauna Maguire, which got 5 stars. The Evil Queen, the first in the Forest of Good and Evil by Gina Showalter, which got 4 stars. A Court of Rings and Ruin, the third in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas, which got 5 stars. Intercepted by Alexa Martin, which got 4 stars. Brick by Alex Gino, which got 4 stars. Seduction of a Highland Lass, the second in the Macabre trilogy by Maya Banks, which got 5 stars. Volume 1 of Spy Family by Tatsuyo Endo, which got 4 stars. Malice by Heather Walter, which got 4 stars. Romancing the Duke, the first in the Castles Ever After series by Tessa Dare, which got 5 stars. A Deal with the Elf King, the first in the Married to Magic series by Elise Kova, which got 4 stars. Starting off July, I read The Duke and I, the first in the Bridgerton series by Julie Quinn, which got 4 stars. The Governess Game by Tessa Dare, which is the second in the Girl Meets Duke series, which I gave 4 stars. Sleeping Around by Morgan Vega, which I gave 5 stars. The Girl Who Speaks Bear by Sophie Anderson, which I gave 4 stars. Spin the Dawn, the first in the Blood of Stars series by Elizabeth Lim, which I gave 3 stars. Bygone Badass Broads by Mackenzie Lee, which I gave 4 stars. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, which I gave 5 stars. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which I gave 4 stars. Act Your Age, Eve Brown, the finale of the Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert, which I gave 5 stars. Across the Green Grass Fields, the sixth in the Wayward Children's series by Shauna Maguire, which I gave 4 stars. A Curse So Dark and Lonely, the first in the Curse Breaker series by Bridget Kimmerer, which I gave 4 stars. Starting off August, we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, which I gave 5 stars. Dreaming Sun Volumes 2 and 3 by Ichigo Taganu, which I gave 5 stars. Neon Gods, the first in the Dark Olympus series by Katie Robert, which I gave 5 stars. My Contrary Mary by the Lady Janies, which I gave 4 stars. Curse of the Wolf King, the first in the Entangled with Fae series by Tessonia Odette, which I gave 5 stars. 7 Days, Monday to Sunday, written by Vino Takabana and the art by Rito Takari, which I gave 3 stars. Highlander Most Wanted, the second in the Montgomery Armstrong series by Maya Banks, which I gave 4 stars. The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren, which I gave 4 stars. 10 Things I Hate About Pinky, which is part of the Dimpleverse, I believe it's the 3rd one, by Sandia Menon, which I gave 4 stars. When a Scot Ties the Knot, the 3rd in the Castles Ever After series by Tessa Dare, which I gave 5 stars. Jane and Love by Rachel Givney, which I gave 5 stars. Slay by Brittany Morris, which I gave 5 stars. Stranger at My Arm by Lisa Kleypas, which I gave 4 stars. Starting off September, we have 13 Treasures, the first in this series by Michelle Harrison, which I gave 4 stars. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, which I gave 4 stars. The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert, which I gave 3 stars. The Duchess Deal, the first in the Girl Meets Duke series by Tessa Dare, which I gave 5 stars. The Boys in the Boat by Daniel James Brown, which I gave 4 stars. Lord of the Eternal Night by Ben Alderson, which I gave 4 stars. How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black, the 3.5 in the Pearl Prince series, which I gave 3 stars. Tender Rebel, the second in the Mallory series by Joanna Lindsay, which I gave 5 stars. And then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which I gave 5 stars. Portrait of a Scotsman, the 3rd in the League of Extraordinary Women series by Evie Dunmore, which I gave 4 stars. Dreaming Sun Volume 4 by Ichigo Chiganu, which I gave 4 stars. Uprooted by Naomi Novik, which I DNF'd. Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga, which got 4 stars. The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page, which I gave 5 stars. A Court of Frost and Starlight, the 3.5, I think, in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas, which got 4 stars. Starting off October, we have The Wallflower Wager, which is the 3rd in the Girl Meets Duke series by Tessa Dare, which got 5 stars. The Viscount Who Loved Me, the 2nd in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn, which got 5 stars. An Offer from a Gentleman, the 3rd in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn, which got 4 stars. Frostheart, the 1st in this series by Jamie Littler, which got 4 stars. Heart of Fae, the 1st in the Otherworld series by Emma Hamm, which got 4 stars. Master of Sorrows, the 1st in this series by Justin Call, which got 3 stars. The Wren Hunt by Mary Watson, which got 4 stars. The 1st in the Bone Season series by Samantha Shannon, which got 5 stars. Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay, which got 4 stars. Spark, the 2nd in the Skin Bones series by Alice Broadway, which I DNF'd, as well as the 3rd one. Halloween Party by Agatha Christie, which got 4 stars. Fangs by Sarah Anderson, which got 5 stars. Gods and Monsters, the 3rd and final book in the Serpent and Dust series by Shelby Mahurin, which got 4 stars. Witch Hat Atelier Volume 2 by Kamome Shirahama, which got 3 stars. Volume 1 of If It's For My Daughter, I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord by Chirolu, which got 5 stars. Apologies for the Changing Sun. It's going down. But next I read Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, which I gave 3 stars. Starting off in November, we've got Pride and Premeditation by Tirzah Price. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton and To Sir Philip with Love, 4 and 5 in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn, which got 5 stars. The Governess Game, again, the 2nd in the Girl Meets Duke series by Tessa Dare, which I gave, I think, 5 stars this time. Beauty and Beast Dangerous Tales by Somen Shinani, which got 5 stars. Risked, the 6th in the Missing series by Margaret Patterson Haddix, which got 3 stars. Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly, which got 5 stars. The Strangers, the 1st in the Grey Stone Secrets series by Margaret Patterson Haddix, which got 5 stars. The Inheritance Games, the 1st in this series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which got 4 stars. 13 Curses, the 2nd in the 13 Treasures trilogy by Michelle Harrison, which got 4 stars. Starting off December, we've got When He Was Wicked, the 6th in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn, which got 4 stars. A Night to Surrender, the 1st in the Spindle Cove series by Tessa Dare, which got 3 stars. A Book of Scandal, the 1st in this series by Julia London, which got 4 stars. The Hawthorne Legacy, the 2nd in the Inheritance Games series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which got 4 stars. The Dollmaker of Krakow by R.M. Romero, which got 5 stars. Once Upon a Winter's Eve, the 1.5 novella for the Spindle Cove series by Tessa Dare, which got 4 stars. The Present, the first half of this book by Joanna Lindsay, which is the 6th in the Mallory series, which got 4 stars. Carols and Chaos by Cindy Anstey, which got 4 stars. Skipping at Christmas by John Grisham, which got 3 stars. The Polar Express by Chris Van Allsburg, which got 5 stars. The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg, which got 4 stars. The Answer Is by Alex Trebek, which got 5 stars. And finally, Miss Iceland by this author I can't pronounce, which got 3 stars. So that's it. Those are all of the books that I read this past year, 2021. The light has clearly gone away. It's been a process recording this, but I hope that you guys enjoyed a quick look back on my reading and my stats from this past year. Feel free to let me know down below any of your stats that you have from the year, if you keep stats, any fun books you'd like to talk about from the past year, and if you don't know what to comment, but you want to comment something, comment one of those notebooks. I think there's notebook emojis like green and red and stuff. Comment one of those. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to check all of that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!